Anxiety. It's just being worried, right? I mean, you have a bad day, or you stress about exams, then it goes away. But what if anxiety didn't leave? What if it rewired your body to stay in constant overdrive, where even a tiny twinge of pain sparks terror? Today, we're diving deep into anxiety and panic with a personal story. The Sharmanator has lived through it, and trust me, his journey will change how you see anxiety forever.
Thanks for that intro, Alice. You've made me sound like a gladiator in an invisible battle. And you wouldn't be far off. Anxiety is relentless. It doesn't just mess with your mind and your body, it can wreak havoc with your relationships and every part of your life. But let's start at the beginning. I've always been a bit of a worrier, though I wouldn't have admitted it back then. I was constantly overthinking, always running on nervous energy, but I'd just shrug it off. I'm tough, I'd tell myself. Too strong to let something like anxiety take me down.
Denial. That's a fairly common response, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But sometimes other people can see what's going on long before you can. Years ago, a work colleague of mine, a friend from Croatia, she gave me this little gift. It was a little set of worry people.
Worry people? What are those?
They are these tiny handmade figurines, usually made of cloth or thread, something plush-like. In certain cultures, especially in Central America, they're called worry dolls or worry people. You're supposed to tell them your worries before bed, and you put them under your pillow, and they symbolically take away your worries while you sleep.
So you give them your worries, and they do the mental heavy lifting for you overnight?
Exactly. It's a symbolic ritual, but a very thoughtful one. I remember being confused at the time, thinking, why is she giving me this odd little gift? But looking back now, I realise that she probably saw me as a worrier long before I even saw it in myself.
She recognised the anxiety before you did. That's surprisingly insightful on her part.
It really was. It's funny how your anxiety can be obvious to others, even when you're blind to it.
So the signs were there, but you didn't connect the dots.
Exactly. I carried that mental tension around for years, but it wasn't until 2018 that everything finally came crashing down. Out of nowhere, I had a heart attack. No warning signs, no major risk factors. One day I was fit and healthy, and the next, bam, 100% blockage of my LAD artery.
The Widowmaker. That's a serious wake-up call.
Yeah, it's not the kind of experience you shake off easily. Physically, I bounced back fast. Within a few months, I was in peak condition, smashing rowing records, lifting heavy weights. But mentally, that's where things went a bit sideways. After the heart attack, I became hyper aware of every little sensation in my body. It felt even the tiniest twinge in my chest, and my brain would scream, "It's happening again." It was like a fire alarm going off in my head, shrieking non-stop. Panic would flood in, triggering a rush of adrenaline and cortisol.
So your body was preparing for a threat that didn't exist.
Exactly. And once those hormones hit, your body goes haywire. My heart would pound so hard it felt like it might burst through my ribcage. My breathing turned shallow. It was like being slowly suffocated by a phantom hand around my throat. I'd keep yawning, trying to fill my lungs with a full breath. But the relief never came.
Incomplete yawns. Anxiety creates some strange physical sensations, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does. I'd get dizzy spells, like the ground was tilting beneath my feet. My arms and legs would go weak, as though I'd suddenly lost all strength. And then came the sense of doom, that crushing, overwhelming certainty that something terrible is about to happen.
Doom? As in, feeling like you're about to face a catastrophic event?
Yes, exactly. And then that's the detachment. I'd feel disconnected from reality, like I was living behind a foggy window or something. So it was like that almost every day, some kind of sensation, and I didn't really know what was happening to me. And then one day I was at work and I felt all of a sudden like I was disappearing from the world. Suddenly I got the most horrendous adrenaline rushes. My head spun like I'd been thrown into a whirlpool, and I lost all sense of where I was. It was like electricity flowing through my limbs, making them weak so I couldn't stand. I was convinced I was going to die that day.
That must have been terrifying.
Yeah, it was. For over an hour, I felt like I was teetering on the edge of unconsciousness and barely holding on. My heart was skipping beats and my vision was blurred. It was chaos inside my body, and a friend rushed me to A&E. They hooked me up to the ECG, ran a bunch of blood tests, checked my troponin levels to rule out another heart attack. They even did a D-dimer test to check for a blood clot, but everything came back normal.
Normal? No heart attack?
None. The only thing they found was the skipped beats, which was probably being caused by the adrenaline surges. They told me it was a panic attack, and apparently you can't die from panic attacks. That moment was both terrifying and actually quite humbling.
So your body was reacting like it was in mortal danger, but there wasn't any real threat?
Precisely. And that's when I finally said to myself, enough. But something important clicked after that event. I realised anxiety is incredibly common. Millions of people experience exactly what I did. It's easy to think your anxiety is unique, that you've got it worse than anyone else, but that's just the fear talking.
So it's not a badge of honour to wear your anxiety like it's more severe than others?
No, it's not. It's not a competition, and comparing yourself to others only reinforces the fear. You are not broken or special for experiencing anxiety, just human. So it was after that trip to A&E, I knew I had to change how I dealt with my anxiety. That's when I started applying practical strategies. So the first thing I did was basically stop resisting it. You see, what we resist gets amplified. Imagine you're standing on the pavement watching traffic go by. The vehicles are like thoughts or emotion, some big like lorries, others small like bicycles, but they keep on moving.
They're not meant to stay.
That's right. But if you step into the road and try to stop them, you create a traffic jam. It gets worse and worse and worse until chaos ensues. Letting thoughts pass is the key. I think you also have to acknowledge anxiety and adopt an attitude that says, come on, bring it on. I don't care if you're there or not. I've got a day to get on with. Just do your worst, crack on.
That sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah, I suppose it does. But adrenaline and cortisol are fight or flight hormones. You can't relax your way out of a panic. Those hormones need to burn off, so just keep on moving.
Recovery is possible. Many others have done it, and you can too.
Yeah, that's true. Do you realise that a 1% improvement each day would lead to you being 37 times better in just 1 year? Take your time, you'll get there.
Improvement compounds like bank interest. To our viewers, have you experienced similar symptoms? Share your stories in the comments. Let's support each other.
And remember, if anxiety is affecting your life, don't hesitate to seek professional help.
Thank you, Sharmanator. Your story is both powerful and inspiring.
Thanks, Alice. And to everyone watching, if you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more to share.
Until next time, stay curious.